What's the creepiest display of intelligence you've seen by another human?
One of the creepiest displays of intelligence I've heard about involved a person with a brilliant understanding of human psychology and manipulation, who used their knowledge in a deeply unsettling way. This individual was incredibly charismatic and highly observant, with an almost eerie ability to understand people's emotions, weaknesses, and desires. They could read a room in seconds, sizing up each person and knowing exactly what to say, how to behave, and when to act to get what they wanted. At first, this person appeared charming and helpful. They would often offer advice or guidance, making people feel special, understood, and supported. The way they listened so intently and responded with just the right words made others feel as if they had found someone who truly got them. It was this careful attention to detail that made their influence so insidious. But over time, the true nature of their behavior started to show itself. What made it particularly creepy was how this person was able to manipulate emotions and create a sense of dependency in others without them even realizing it. They didn't resort to obvious tactics like threats or direct pressure. Instead, they used subtle psychological tricks, like guilt-tripping or planting seeds of doubt. For instance, they might offer an opinion in such a way that made others feel like they were being unreasonable or irrational if they disagreed. Or they would make someone feel indebted by doing something seemingly kind but then subtly reminding them of it later, making them feel obligated to return the favor in ways they hadn't intended. This person was also an expert at exploiting insecurities. They would tell someone just enough to make them feel like their fears or doubts were shared, but they would never fully commit. Instead, they'd plant just enough doubt or uncertainty to keep their victims questioning themselves. It was like playing a psychological game, always keeping others on edge but in a way that seemed completely normal on the surface. The most unsettling part was that, even though they were manipulative, they did it with such skill that their actions were often unrecognizable until it was too late. People would leave conversations or situations with this individual feeling confused, unsure of what had just happened, yet unable to shake the sense that something was off. It wasn't obvious enough to call out, but it was subtle enough to leave a lingering effect. It wasn't until others started to share their experiences that the pattern emerged. People began to realize that they had been played in ways they never fully understood at the time. Some would come to see that they had been subtly influenced into making decisions they wouldn't have otherwise made, or that they had been emotionally manipulated into isolating themselves from others, all while thinking they were acting of their own free will. What made it particularly creepy was how this person seemed to enjoy the power they held over others, but in a way that wasn't visible to most. There was no overt force or coercion involved. It was more like a puppeteer pulling invisible strings, and the people around them had no idea they were being controlled. The scariest part was realizing just how easy it could be for someone with that level of intelligence to manipulate others without them even being aware of it. In the end, the person's brilliance wasn't just in their intellectual capacity, but in their ability to exploit the very nature of human vulnerability and use it as a tool for control. It left a lasting impression on everyone who was involved, and even after they had distanced themselves from this person, the sense of unease lingered. It was a reminder of how powerful and dangerous intelligence can be when it's used not for creation or understanding, but for manipulation and control.